The long brewing conflict between the Stevensons and the Harrigans seemed to turn toward peace in episode 4 of the Paramount Plus crime drama Mobland, but only on the surface. The apparent confrontation between the two London-based criminal families are actually on the verge of erupting at the end of the episode and may have taken a significant step in that direction. With the introduction of the cast and storylines, the show is starting to give both of its main characters more nuance. Episode 4 gave several of them color and background. The main storyline of the Harrigan crime empire's attempt to take over London's fentanyl trade, which is currently controlled by Richie Stevenson and his rival crime family, serves as the basis for each distinct subplot. Making sure the Harrigans' wrongdoings don't result in violence and trying to keep himself and the entire Harrigan family out of jail has been Harry de Souza's entire job. But it's becoming more and more obvious that the biggest danger to either of these outcomes is found inside the Cotswolds. Helen Mirren's character Maeve Harrigan has been incredibly protective of her grandson, allowing Eddie Harrigan to get away with everything and welcoming him with open arms and congratulations for his wrongdoings. This was particularly true when he killed Tommy Stevenson, the son of the infamous rivals of the Harrigans. There has also been a discernible pattern of her manipulating her husband Conrad, Pierce Brosnan, and it is strongly suggested that she is a symbolic Lady Macbeth figure who controls the Harrigan crime empire from behind the scenes. The extent of Maeve Harrigan's influence over everything was made abundantly clear in a scene from Mobland's 4th episode. When Eddie Harrigan discusses his murder of Tommy Stevenson in a private conversation with his grandmother, he expresses his own doubts about whether what they were doing was wrong. This essentially ensures that the Harrigans will go to war if Richie Stevenson ever finds out. He is reassured by Maeve that it was the right play and that he appeared strong. It's evident that although the erratic Eddie is a willing accomplice in the plot, Maeve Harrigan is the one pushing the Harrigans to go to war and asserting that she and Eddie are going to deliver another message to the Stevensons. Nowadays, it is almost certain that Maeve has more ambitious goals than just being a submissive matriarch to her crime lord husband. In episode 4, Maeve criticizes her husband's lack of interest, pointing out that he used to always have a gun or blade with him, but now he is happy to sit on his phone and keep an eye on his portfolio. Maeve doesn't seem to have her husband's best interests at heart anymore, whether it's because she wants Conrad to make the Harrigans a feared group once more or because she has some long-term revenge plan for his frequent infidelity. Although it seemed to allay Rich's suspicions, he did have one last request: Tommy's funeral should be attended by the Harrigan family. In episode 4, Richie brought Harry, Tom Hardy, into his facility by himself once more, stating that something didn't feel right after speaking with Valjean, the man who was accused of killing his son. Because he likes Harry, Richie agreed to put the issue to bed if Harry finishes the job with Valjean, as that would put his mind at ease. He gives Harry a gun with the intention of observing their exchange to see if there is any hesitation or a flash of recognition between Harry and Valjean. Instead of using a gunshot to kill Valjean quickly, Harry uses a piece of wood that he breaks off and stabs him violently in the stomach until he dies, eliminating any possibility of doubt. Allay Rich's suspicions, he did have one last request: Tommy's funeral should be attended by the Harrigan family. Since the audience is unaware of what Valjean actually told Richie about Tommy's death, it may actually be a trap for the Harrigans, despite the fact that it is obviously meant to serve as a symbolic truce between the two families. After Archie was killed in episode 1, the police were notified of his whereabouts, according to the conclusion of Mobland's 3rd episode. The entire Harrigan family, including their dependable attorney Ahara, witnessed the startling death. Conrad informs Maeve that only he and Harry knew the body's burial location, despite the fact that they were all witnesses to the murder. Since Conrad is aware that Harry kept the location of Archie's body a secret, whoever anonymously informed the police about it had to be Harry or have been informed by Harry. Because he firmly believes that Harry would never betray him, he concludes that Joanne Froggatt, Harry's wife, is the one who cannot be trusted. Conrad uses a stern expression, overt threats, and a firm hold on Jan's thigh to intimidate her after Alice leaves. Conrad is specifically threatening her to make sure she doesn't turn on the Harrigans to anyone because he knows she sees a therapist. Conrad decides to pay Jan a visit at her house, where she was enjoying some midday wine with her friend Alice. While waiting for Richie to call following his personal interrogation of Valjean, Harry and Kevin, played by Paddy Considine, have a one-on-one conversation that leads to some significant discoveries regarding the Harrigan family's past. The most significant is that, when Conrad was in his 50s and Bella, Kevin's wife, was only 20 or 21 years old, she was one of the girls he had on the side. It explains why she is rarely seen with the other members of the family and, possibly, why, in spite of Harry's stern warnings, Bella is still attempting to close a deal with the enigmatic Frenchman Antoine. They talk about their time spent together in a juvenile detention center, which is probably how the two men first connected and how Harry ended up with the Harrigans. In episode 3, Harry mentions to Kevin that he saw one of their former jailers, Rusby, in the nursing home, but Kevin denies ever remembering him. But it turns out that not only did Kevin remember him, but that specific guard actually raped him, at least once, while he was in the detention center. He lied to Harry to conceal the truth about his ordeal. Jan was entertaining her new friend Alice, whom she had connected with after meeting her seemingly at random, when Conrad showed up at her house to confront her. Alice lobbies to stick around when Conrad enters Jan's home, only to quickly be rebuffed by a look from Conrad. It's revealed that Alice is actually an undercover informant for DCS Fisk and Mukasa, and she is clearly trying to get information about the Harrigans from a more unsuspecting source in January. At the conclusion of Mobland's 4th episode, her cover was still intact, but we'll see how long that lasts.